shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It's a cold start to the week, but as we get closer to Christmas, we'll track some unseasonable warmth, how close it comes to being one of the warmer Christmases on record coming up.
Plus, deadly shooting. A mother tells WRAL her 13-year-old daughter was shot and killed days before Christmas. Well, police are still trying to learn about what happened. And holiday hustle. The travel rush is on, and we are keeping an eye on the airport this morning. The smart moves to make before you reach the terminal. Yeah, if you've been procrastinating, your time's kind of already run out. Thanks for joining us this morning here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Levingood, and joining me this morning over in weather, we have meteorologist Chris Michaels taking a look at what the temperatures are. It was 32 when I walked out this morning. It's still in the 30s right now.
Still in the 30s. I'm feeling very called out, by the way, about the procrastinating. I think a lot of us are on that same playing field, right? Temperatures this morning in the 30s. Rocky Mount, Durham, and Raleigh looking very festive as we have for the past few weeks. As you head out the door, as Chris was saying, temperatures pretty close to freezing. Midday lunch break temperatures in the mid-40s, with high temperatures today making it into the lower 50s. Raleigh at about 51, Lewisburg 50 degrees, Benson 52, Clinton at 54. Yesterday, the clouds just kind of added some chill, even though we made it into the upper 50s in the triangle. Today will at least look a little better. It'll be a little brighter for you. The spirits are bright as we get closer to Christmas Day. You're looking at high temperatures in the upper 60s. We're going to show you how close that comes to record levels and how long we see that kind of warmth coming up in your complete forecast.
All right, sounds good, Chris. Thank you. Goldsboro police are investigating after a mother says her teenage daughter was killed in a shooting. That happened yesterday afternoon, just after 4:30. This was at an apartment community off Patetown Road. Investigators were at that scene late last night working to figure out what led up to that shooting. Whitney Toon told WRAL her 13-year-old daughter was the person killed.
She was loving. She was in middle school. She was a good kid. She didn't deserve this.
Toon says this is a devastating loss for her family and the community. Police tell WRAL there is an active investigation and they have not yet released the victim's age or any suspect information. Well, it may be the most wonderful time of year, but it can also be stressful on various levels. The holiday travel season is underway, and if you're headed to the airport, you may want to make sure you're proactive. Let's bring in Allie Calabar. She's live at RDU right there with some advice you should know before you pull up to the front doors there. Allie, pretty busy as people are getting ready to travel.
Oh, yes, definitely, Chris. It is very busy here this morning at RDU, and you can even see those lines. We usually see these lines start to form around this time every morning, but we do know that it's going to be a busy next 10 days here at RDU. TSA says there's not one record-breaking travel day, but instead a nearly 2-week-long packed travel period. TSA says that they are fully staffed at the checkpoints. The long wait times you'd most likely see are from travelers bringing prohibited items through security. And this time of year, those prohibited items could be wrapped up gifts for your loved ones.
One of the things we ask is that people not come to the checkpoint with wrapped gifts. The most heartbreaking place to have to unwrap a gift is inside the checkpoint.
So TSA recommends that you wrap your gifts in gift bags or you check your gifts in your luggage. There's a full list of prohibited items on tsa.gov. If you're headed to the airport today, we're going to be tracking all of the holiday travel here at RDU Terminal 2. Reporting live at RDU, Allie Calabar, WRAL News.
And as you're headed to go out to the airport, AAA recommends having your real ID. You still can board a flight without one, but you may have to go through an ID verification process, and that means more screening. Soon, TSA passengers without a real ID will have to pay extra. A TSA spokesperson says beginning February 1st, people will have to pay $45 to board a flight.
The best way to avoid that $45 fee between now and February the 1st is to hurry up and get that state-issued real ID, get that credential so that you can fly without having to pay extra.
Langston says right now only about 5% of people are coming through without the real ID or an acceptable form of ID. When you're packing, make sure you have one of the accepted forms of IDs that's, again, listed on the TSA website. Well, the roads are going to be pretty busy over the next 2 weeks as well. Travel experts say the busiest time will be the weekend after Christmas. Experts estimate about 3.3 million North Carolinians will hit the road between now and New Year's. AAA says you'll want to pay attention to the timing of your trip. Afternoons and early evenings are usually the worst. mornings tend to be much smoother. AAA also urges drivers to check tires, batteries, and fluids before leaving. Last holiday season, roadside assistance calls were more than 860,000 nationwide. The national average of gas prices is a bit lower than it was this time last year. Here in North Carolina, in Raleigh, the average is around $2.69. In Charlotte, it's $2.62, and in Wilmington, $2.64. And just another reminder for you, you will see more police and troopers on the road and the highways right now. The holiday Booze It and Lose It campaign began last week. The annual campaign runs through January 4th. More patrols will be on the roads to enforce impaired driving laws. And to help if you are traveling on the road this holiday, the state DOT is pausing most of its major construction projects. The pause will be in place through January 2nd. In Johnston County, a person was killed in a crash last night, and that crash happened near Old Cornwallis Road near Princeton just before 6:30 p.m. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows a pickup truck and an SUV that were involved in this crash. Troopers say alcohol and speed were factors in it. We're told the driver of one of the vehicles died and another person was arrested. We are trying to get more information on terms of what led up to all of this. The sheriff's office in Halifax County says a man's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit as he led a deputy on a chase. The deputy says Traquan Richardson was speeding in the area of West 10th Street. That was shortly after 1 o'clock yesterday morning. The sheriff's office says Richardson did not stop when the deputy tried to pull him over, but he eventually crashed into a ditch. Starting today, there are new rules to follow if you are wanting to visit someone at Wake Med Hospital. Children under the age of 12 will not be allowed to visit the hospital's nursing units, the care areas of the waiting rooms, and the hospital is making the change because of a rise in respiratory illnesses. This includes RSV and flu. Hospital officials say this is the best way to help protect vulnerable patients and to slow the spread of the illness. The Carolina Panthers are in the driver's seat to win the NFC South. The defense came up with a key interception with less than a minute left to close out a 23-20 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That puts the Panthers 1 game up over the Buccaneers for the division lead with just 2 games left. The Panthers will try to get 1 step closer to a playoff spot when they host the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday at Bank of America Stadium. And just a reminder, hockey for the holidays is back. You can watch the Carolina Hurricanes go head-to-head with the Detroit Red Wings for a post-holiday game. You can catch that game only on WRAL Saturday, December 27th at 7 p.m. Well, tonight's Powerball drawing will be the biggest one of the year. The jackpot is now $1.6 billion after no one won it Saturday night. It is the 4th largest jackpot ever for the game. The lump sum cash prize is more than $735 million, and you can watch tonight's drawing on WRAL just before our 11 o'clock newscast. Your time is 4:37 this morning. Dangerous surge. Doctors are raising new concerns about a fast-spreading flu strain. Why the usual protections may not be enough this season. Plus, California storms. How severe weather on the West Coast is leaving communities underwater and in the dark, too. Let's go ahead and step outside and get you a live look at Lewisburg. The Christmas tree looking all nice and pretty there early this morning. Meteorologist Chris Michaels will tell us which parts of the area will flirt with 70-degree warmth on Christmas Day.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
Happy Monday. Right now, 4:41, and got to start out with this tower cam while we can, while it's nice and dark and all lit up for this Christmas week. Your Monday commute, whether it's traveling out of town or heading back to the office, this morning we're pretty good. It's cold, right? You're going to need the heat on in the car for sure. By midday, we'll be in the mid-40s, and high temperatures today make it into the lower 50s, so it will be a cooler day, but it'll be a brighter day than what we saw out there yesterday. Looking ahead to tomorrow's travel on I-95, New York and Philly dealing with a little bit of a rain-snow mix. Your better chance of snow accumulation will be farther to the north, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, parts of New England as well. Fayetteville may see a stray shower tomorrow, and then, of course, you head to Fort Lauderdale and Miami. They're going to be in the upper 70s. So really, our only little bit of concern locally will be some isolated showers tomorrow, but smooth sailing through Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I'll show you how close we get to 70 degrees coming up.
Well, you could be in line for a $2,000 check, but it's not guaranteed yet. A key White House economic advisor says the plan would need congressional approval first. Kevin Hassett says the president wants to use revenue from higher tariffs to fund these checks, but lawmakers would have to change the tax code and pass new legislation. Hassett says recent positive economic news could improve the chances, but Congress has the final say. As you know, Christmas is just days away, and the tree farmers who produce holiday trees are dealing with a new reality. They are competing with companies that make artificial trees. An organization that promotes real Christmas trees says people are not buying real Christmas trees in the numbers they did decades ago. Imported artificial trees have doubled over the past decade, and that number fell a little this year because of tariffs. Experts say the U.S. also has less land dedicated to producing Christmas trees than it did 20 years ago. A new severe flu variant is spreading across the country. It's something doctors are calling a super flu. At least 1,900 people have died from the flu this season, and 11 of those deaths have been in North Carolina, including a child. Jen Sullivan shares the growing warning from doctors.
At the D.C. Public Health Lab, doctors are busy testing diseases that could become a public health concern.
The really only time that people see us is when there's a public health emergency.
Dr. Jocelyn Hauser is the director. She says doctors' offices and hospitals around the country send them swabs collected from patients.
We receive those samples and log them into our information system.
Those results are then sent to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This year, the CDC is particularly concerned about growing cases of influenza. The latest data released Friday shows there have been at least 4.6 million flu cases so far this season, 49,000 hospitalizations, and 1,900 deaths in the U.S. alone. The dominant strain causing the surge in illnesses is subclade K, a mutation of influenza A.
We think that this clade K virus is evading population immunity, meaning more people are susceptible to infection.
While doctors in the CDC say the best protection is to get the flu vaccine, Johns Hopkins University professor Andrew Pekosh says this year the shot may not be enough.
It has mutations that may allow it to evade some, but not all, of the influenza vaccine-induced protection.
As millions of people prepare to travel and gather this week for the holidays, there's growing concern illnesses may spike, and cases are surging around the globe. Children, adults 65 and older, and those with underlying medical conditions are particularly vulnerable to the flu. Medical experts are urging everyone 6 months and older to get the flu vaccine. Jen Sullivan, WRAL News.
More Americans are thinking of making financial resolutions as the new year approaches. A new study found many people are wanting to focus on their short-term goals. Nearly 65% are considering a financial resolution. The three most important resolutions have been consistent year over year, which are wanting to save more money, wanting to pay down debt, and looking to spend less money. More than half of respondents feel overwhelmed by personal finances. Millennials and Gen Z were the most overwhelmed. It's not a bad idea to look for a financial planner, something to think about. The holidays are a time for family gatherings and celebrations, but as you're enjoying each moment, it's also important to remember that overdoing it can take a toll on your heart. Cleveland Clinic says symptoms of holiday heart may include things such as palpitations, fatigue, and shortness of breath. While it can affect anyone, those with conditions such as high blood pressure and diabetes are most at risk. Overindulgence is a big reason heart problems tend to rise around the holidays. To prevent holiday heart, doctors suggest limiting things like salty foods and even alcohol.
Make sure that you are consuming enough of things like fruits and vegetables, but also fluid, right? If we're not drinking water, for example, and all we're having is a little bit of eggnog and a little bit of champagne, that's a problem.
Breaking news, water is good for you. Above all, it's important to seek medical help immediately if you start having symptoms like shortness of breath and chest pain. All right, we got to show you this. Stormy weather that caused widespread flooding and power outages in parts of California yesterday. You see what they're going through right there? Outages affected more than 2,600 customers in the Redding area. The flooding closed roads and stranded vehicles across that city, prompting a countrywide flood and rescue alerts. I think I'm supposed to say countywide flood alert and water rescue. There we go. It's fine here. I'm going to say no alert here flooding-wise where we are. If anything you should be paying attention to is how cold it is right now. But Christmas Day, it's going to be warm, Chris.
Yeah, Santa's definitely going to have to shed his coat as he's flying into North Carolina. But for this morning, you got to have the coat. Chapel Hill's at 27, Wake Forest and Durham at 30 degrees, Clayton's at 34, Fuquay, Holly Springs, and Apex at about 38 degrees. So as you're running some of those morning errands, the jacket is going to be needed up until at least 7 a.m. Even by 9 o'clock, despite sunshine, temperatures will still be in the mid-30s by then. Colder than Sunday, but brighter, so we'll take that. Temperatures about 50 to 54 across the board. Benson, Sanford, Goldsboro, Southern Pines, 52, your forecast high for today. Heading into tomorrow, weak system starts to pass through the area, and it gives us the chance for some very sporadic and light rain showers. Nothing that should have a big role on any of your travel locally. This same system does produce some snow up toward the northeast in New England tomorrow, so if you're flying out of town, definitely something to check on before you head out the door tomorrow morning. In terms of the rest of Christmas week, high pressure is going to be anchored over the southeastern U.S. Most of the rain by Christmas Day is going to stay locked in the mountains of West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and even North Carolina, but here we'll be seeing some warming afternoons. Christmas Eve, 67 the high temperature in the Triangle. Christmas Day, the forecast high 69 degrees. If we hit 69 degrees, that would be the 6th warmest Christmas on record at RDU, the warmest since the year 2021. The record warmth or record high for Christmas Day, that was 75 degrees set back in 1955. So we'll fall short of that, but it still looks like it's going to be quite the mild Christmas day, especially if we break out into a little bit of sunshine. Up until then, upper 50s tomorrow after some sporadic morning showers. There's your warmth for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Friday, that forecast could change just depending on the location of a front, but for now, keeping it warm. We'll be warm into the weekend prior to our next best shot of rain. It looks to come through by Sunday night. Chris?
You're not slick, Chris. I see that festive background on that 7-day. Trying to get good in with Santa, all right? All right, your time is 4:49. Big screen buzz, a breakout box office debut, and a major streaming renewal, and a big honor for a global music star. We'll look at today's Hollywood Minute. And remembering the often forgotten, how Wake County honored people who died in 2025 while experiencing homelessness. Your time is 4:52 as we're waking up here. Got a nice little look at Franklin 10. Pretty cool Christmas lights there. Well, we miss you and you will not be forgotten was the message at the memorial to honor those who died in Wake County over the last year while homeless.
We may never meet again before you go.
Now, each of the chairs you see right here carries the name of someone who died this year, 55 in all, including a chair for those who could not be named. Organizers say this memorial not only calls attention to those who died, but also to the many still living.
You know, stereotyping people or, you know, making certain assumptions about people really isn't fair because these are situations that all kinds of people from all walks of life get into, and there's no single face of homelessness.
And during the ceremony last night, each of the names were read out loud. This event is held each year to remember those who might not have been remembered otherwise. WRAL's newest documentary, Coaching Carolina the Belichick Way, chronicled legendary coach Bill Belichick's first season in Chapel Hill. His first year brought headlines and attention, but fewer wins than expected. Now, with the hype and buzz having subsided at least a little bit, Belichick faces a critical offseason to turn the Tar Heels into winners. He needs to hire an offensive coordinator to help fix the broken offense, navigate the transfer portal with players coming and going, and develop a big recruiting class into immediate contributors. Hopefully for UNC faithful, he wants to restore some of the excitement from before his initial season. Now, you can read about the challenges ahead for Belichick and the Tar Heels at WRAL.com. And you can watch our documentary online and our YouTube channel. Movie, music, and streaming news now with David Daniel in today's Hollywood Minute.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work out?
That doesn't even enter my consciousness.
Marty Supreme did supremely well in its first weekend. The drama starring Timothée Chalamet opened in 9th place with $875,000 playing in just 6 theaters. That's an average of nearly $146,000 a screen, the best per theater average of any movie this year. It expands to wide release on Thursday. Last Samurai Standing is still standing. Netflix has renewed the action series for a second season. The streamer says the show, which premiered last month, is in its top 10 in 88 countries.
Riding right beside me, we're two arrows in the wind, 'cause you are my home.
Miley Cyrus is set to be honored for her song from Avatar: Fire and Ash. The Palm Springs International Film Festival announced it'll give Cyrus its Outstanding Artistic Achievement Award for Dream as One. The awards are January 3rd in Palm Springs, California. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The town of Morrisville ended its Light Up Morrisville series with its official menorah lighting last night. This symbolizes the triumph of light over darkness and captures the spirit of Hanukkah. The ceremony got started at 5:30 at the Indian Creek Trailhead. Heartbreaking loss. A Goldsboro mother says her 13-year-old daughter was shot and killed days before Christmas, but police are still trying to learn about what happened. And if you're flying soon, we are live at RDU with travel advice to help you avoid those holiday headaches. And secondhand gifting. If you are looking to save money these days, 5 On Your Side has advice on thrifting for the best deals and which used items you should probably skip.